Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Thursday meditation. This is our last of the week, and it's been lovely to get back to it. And glad you're joining me again this evening. We have our final day of B'Shalach, the Torah portion where Jacob and Esau come together. We've already looked at Jacob separating his family. We looked at Jacob wrestling with himself. And then today, there is that moment, a very famous moment of when Jacob and Esau come together after 21 years. And you will recall that Jacob stole Esau's birthright and blessing. Esau said he was going to kill Jacob next time he saw him. And here we are, as they arrive together. And it's a very dramatic scene. And in this scene, Jacob and Esau see each other from kind of a distance, I guess. And Jacob bows 7 times to Esau. And once he arrives to where Esau is, they hug. They embrace. And Esau kisses Jacob. Now, he kisses him on the neck. There's an interesting interpretation of that, because above that word, there are dots above the word, and he kissed him. And the commentary sees upon that to once again point Esau in a horrible light. And they say that the reason why those dots are there is because it didn't mean nishika, it meant nishicha, which is to bite instead of kiss. And so they're saying that he went to bite Jacob's neck. And one of the Midrash even says that he goes to bite Jacob's neck, and then Jacob's neck turns into a pillar of stone or a pillar of marble, and Esau's teeth break as he tries to bite him on the neck. I am going to prefer to read it as he kissed him, embraced him, kissed him, welcomed him after 21 years of what you can imagine may have been pent-up aggression and hatred towards him. And I think for us and our spiritual guidance is to forgive. Is number one, it appears as if Esau recognizes that Jacob is not the same person that he was. One of the reasons why the commentaries say that is, if you remember from yesterday, the man that Jacob wrestles, some people think that it was Esau. And so, Esau already got it out of the way, wrestled with him all night, gets there in the morning and realizes this isn't the same man. And indeed, it's not the same man. The person who left wasn't married, had no children, was still kind of a bratty kid. 21 years later, let's say he's 15 when he left. He's 36 years old. Let's say he's 18 when he left. He's 39 years old now, with 4 wives, which is big of him, and big of me too. I hope you got that joke. And he has 13 children. And this is, anybody who's had any children knows that once you have children, there's something that changes inside. And Esau must have realized that. So for us, for our spiritual message for the day, where do you need to forgive? Where are you holding on to something? Are you holding on to a negative feeling about somebody? You can't remember why? Or maybe you can remember why, but it was so long ago that it doesn't even really matter to you now? Esau became a pretty powerful guy on his own. He had lots of, sounds like a plane is landing on top of my house. He had lots of children, and he himself had all these wives and children and people that worked with him, and land and animals, and he had everything. And he was willing to even give it to Jacob. But he also wasn't that kid when Jacob left. He had changed himself. So as you reflect upon you and whether your life is the same now as when it was when you held on to whatever it is that you're holding on to. Just give me 1 second, please. Sorry about that. You know, there's just times when there's times when we hold on to ideas, when we hold on to thoughts, when we stick to our guns on something that was important to stick to our guns to when we did decide to do that, but time has passed and things change. And sometimes as we approach new moments, as we approach the same people that we may have had issues with, if we can open ourselves up a little bit and just allow things to be as they are for now, and to take in what is now as opposed to what has been in the past, it might help us to live in that moment. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm having issues today. You sneeze on the truth. But it's really important for us to think about the ways in which we hold on to things, and whether we have the ability or the desire even to let things go, and to just allow us to go with what's happening now instead of what's happened in the past. I mean, there are some foods you may not have liked, and all of a sudden you start eating it and you love it at a later date. And there may be people that you didn't necessarily get along with, and all of a sudden they become your best friends. It happens in a lot of movies, right? The moment you meet somebody, you might not like them, but then all of a sudden they grow on you and you're able to love them. Perhaps this is one of those situations in this spiritual teaching that says whatever you held on to at the time when you became hardened, maybe that doesn't exist anymore, and that hardness can soften if we will only be open to now and be open to what's happening at this moment of our lives, as opposed to harking back to the past and saying, okay, this is set in stone and there's not going to be any change to it. So I guess one of the things that we need to think about today is there someone we can forgive? Or is there something we need to just let go of so that we can go on with our lives? For after all, that is what happens in this story. Jacob and Esau come together. Esau says, hey, let me help you. Jacob says, I don't need any help. They go their separate ways, but they do it with I guess some kind of brotherly love that they carried with them into the future. So, all of this seems to come again from the idea of being non-judgmental, and kind of taking things as they are and not necessarily putting a judgment on them, but just saying this is what it is. That might be helpful to you and it might not, but that is what we're trying to do, trying to get out of maybe some patterns, and enter into kind of a new way to approach things from this moment, from the now, as we're moving forward, as opposed to we're going to move forward based upon things that happened in the past. And maybe that's a little bit scary, but perhaps that's our spiritual endeavor for the day. So let's get ourselves ready for our meditation. Find yourself in a comfortable position if you can. And here we go. We're just going to breathe normally. We're not going to force anything. We're just going to normal breaths into our body and take notice of the way it feels coming in. What are some of the sensations in your body? Are there any sounds that you're hearing behind you and outside of the room where you are? Here we go. We're not trying to do anything with our breath. We're just allowing it to be. Sometimes our body demands that we take a deeper breath in, and sometimes it doesn't. But we're really concentrating on kind of that center of our body where the breath comes in and goes out. And we're allowing everything to be just as it is for now. As your thoughts take you away from your breath, as you notice it, just bring yourself back with love, with chesed, back to your breath. As we reach the last couple of minutes of our meditation together, we ask for two feelings, the feeling of joy and feeling of wholeness. And with each breath we say, may I feel joy. Or you could say, may I feel joyous. And may I feel whole. Or may I feel wholeness. And we ask for these two things upon us as we enter towards Shabbat, to bring us into the weekend with a feeling of wholeness and joy. One might say Shabbat brings the joy, but you have to meet it. And I do like to believe that wholeness comes from all of our experiences together and the recognition that we are whole. But whether we are whole or we do feel joy or we are joyous, to really feel it inside is what we're asking for. May I feel joy. May I feel wholeness. May I feel wholeness and joy. And with each breath, ask yourself to feel one of those two things. And just go through that for several breaths. May I feel joy. May I feel wholeness. Sometimes it helps to smile a little bit as you say these. May I feel wholeness. May I feel joy. May I feel joy and wholeness. Can you let a little glimmer of joy in? Can you grasp a feeling of wholeness? May I feel joy, and may I feel wholeness. And with those feelings of joy and wholeness in our heart, just one last time we connect with our breath. Connect to now. It's like a triple bell today. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope that you were able to find stillness and peace. May you feel joy, and may you feel wholeness. May you have a beautiful evening.